Good afternoon, children. In our previous classes, we have read how colonialism affects on rural and tribal lives, and we read that due to the various types of agricultural policies, revenue collection systems, farmers of India revolted against the Britishers. I also told you about the tribal life, tribals who were living in the forest, and they were dependent on forest products for their livelihoods. But Britishers reserved the forest, and then most of the tribals had to leave their traditional livelihood. Their life became miserable. And when excess of anything is there, when atrocities crosses the limit, then what happens? Revolts. So tribal groups, different tribal groups also started revolting against the Britishers. The commercialization of agriculture. Commercialization means Britishers forced our farmers to grow cash crops. Cash crops means those crops which were needed as raw material for the British industries for commercial purposes. So the commercialization of agriculture and exploitation of forest wealth. Britishers exploited the forest wealth, made many tribals homeless and jobless. They lost their jobs also, as well as they lost their home also, because forest was their home and Britishers reserved the forest. The unjust policies of the British resulted in the rebellions. Rebellions means revolts by tribals in different parts of India. First we will read about the Khasis. Khasis live in the Khasi hills of northwest Assam. And this Khasi revolt by the Khasis took place in which year? In 1829. Khasi revolt took place in 1829. The construction of a road through their land united many Khasi chiefs against the English under the leadership of Bar Manik. Leader was Bar Manik and Tirut Singh. Khasis leaders were Bar Manik and Tirut Singh. Khasis were living in which part of India? Northwest Assam. And why did they revolt? Because the Britishers started constructing the road through their land. And that's why many Khasis chiefs, means head of the Khasi community, tribal community, they revolted against the English and their leader was Bar Manik and Tirut Singh. But the British, they were very powerful and they suppressed their rebellion brutally. Means mercilessly they suppressed their rebellion. Next tribal group who revolted against the Britishers, they were the Kukis. The Kukis. Kukis of hilly regions of Manipur. Where they were living? In the hilly regions of Manipur. Continued attacking the British territories from 1829 only, but they were forced to surrender in 1850. They were also revolting from 1829 only, but they were forced by the Britishers to surrender in 1850. Means 1850 they surrendered to the Britishers. First we have read about Khasis, then Kukis. Now next tribal groups were Huns. Next tribal group who revolted against the Britishers were Khond of Khondmal. Khondmal is where? Near Orissa. Khonds of Khondmal near Orissa revolted against the Britishers. In which year they revolted? In 1846. Due to the fear of being annexed, means they were afraid that the Britishers would annex them, joined them in their territory, so they revolted against the Britishers. Khonds were living in Orissa and they revolted against the Britishers in which year? In 1846. But what happened? Again Britishers were very powerful and these Khonds, they could not stand before the might of Britishers, before the power of Britishers. Next group, tribal group who revolted against the Britishers were Santhals. The Santhals found themselves quite helpless. Santhal community found themselves helpless against the ruthless exploitation and oppression of the traders and the middlemen. Middlemen means the persons who were doing everything between the Britishers and the Santhals. They were expecting the British government to safeguard their interests. Santhals were expecting that British government should safeguard their interests. But nothing was done by the British government. So they revolted against the Britishers in which year? 1855 to 1856. Santhals revolted in which year? 1855 to 1856 and their leader was Sidhu and Kanu Murmu. Sidhu and Kanu Murmu. In Jharkhand, one university is named after Sidhu Kanu. Sidhu Kanu Murmu, they were the tribal groups of Santhals. Then next, who revolted against the Britishers were Mundas of Chota Nagpur. Mundas. Mundas of Chota Nagpur joined by the Kolarian tribe of the same region, means Mundas and Kolarian tribal groups, they joined against the Britishers and revolted in which year? In 1831. Mundas and Kolarian tribal groups, they revolted against the Britishers in 1831. The struggle was suppressed by the British forces, but the exploitation by the merchants and the money lenders continued. Means merchants also and the money lenders who were giving money to these Santhals, these Mundas and Kolarian groups, they were exploiting. Then in 1895, you must have heard about Birsa Munda. Birsa Munda is considered as a god in Jharkhand. Birsa Chowk in Ranchi, capital of Jharkhand is Ranchi. There Birsa Chowk is very famous. As the Birsa movement spread, the popularity of Birsa, in which year Birsa Munda revolted against the Britishers? In 1895. This Birsa Munda, this topic is very important. In 1895, Birsa Munda, a young boy, emerged as a hero of tribals. He urged them to continue to work on their own land, to earn their living and not to move away. He told the tribals that all of you should work on your own land and not to leave the land for the Britishers. This would end all their sufferings, as all the tribal groups were suffering in the hands of the Britishers. So Birsa Munda was a young boy. In 1895, he started revolting against the Britishers and he started telling the people to work on their own land, to earn their living and not to move away, and this would only end all their suffering. And this movement is known as Birsa movement. Many times this short answers they ask about Birsa movement. As the Birsa movement spread, the popularity of Birsa Munda also increased. He told his people that land policies of the British were destroying their traditional land system. Means whatever the land system British tribals were having, Britishers' new land policy was destroying that traditional system. And for that, Birsa was jailed for 2 years. 2 years Britishers put him behind the bars. But after 2 years, when he was released, he instigated the tribals to attack Jamindars. Jamindars means land owners. He raised the white flag. In Birsa movement, which flag was raised? White flag. He raised the white flag, and this white flag was the symbol of Birsa Raj. This white flag was the symbol of Birsa Raj, and this movement ended in 1900. When Birsa Munda died in 1900, then this movement was ended. Means, you see, when Birsa Munda started the movement, 1895, what he told to the tribals, that they should work on their own land and they should not leave their land. And Birsa Munda raised white flag. He was put behind the bars for 2 years, but when he was released, then he raised white flag. It was a symbol of Birsa Raj, but he died in 1900, and then this Munda movement, this Birsa movement was ended with the death of Birsa. The name Munda given to the community indicates the name of its leader. Its leader's name was Birsa Munda. So this name Munda is given to the community. It indicates the name of its leader. And the Munda called themselves Hodoko. Hodoko means human beings. These Munda community, they called themselves Hodoko. Hodoko means human beings. So children, so far we have read that how Britishers' policy affected on the farmers and the tribals, and they revolted against the Britishers, but Britishers were very powerful, so they suppressed them. Now we will see the effects of colonialism on crafts and industries. I have already told you that the Britishers safeguarded their own industries at the cost of Indian handicraft industries, Indian cottage industries. And with more and more parts of urban and rural India coming under the rule of East India Company, the exploitative character of the British rule was exposed. Means everyone understood the character of the Britishers. What was their character? To do exploitation. The company's monopolization means single right of trade. Company, East India Company, here we are talking about which company? East India Company. East India Company took single right of trade, and this right was getting stronger. Although agriculture was the main occupation of the people and main revenue collection, source of revenue collection, but there was no progress of handicrafts, then muslin, wool and silk products. Metalworks of iron, steel, copper, brass, gold and silver were also in great demand in India. And in the 17th century, trade with European nation was in favor of India, because we exported items. Which items we exported? We exported cotton, silk, then spices, then cotton, silk, spices, indigo, drugs, precious stones, and handicrafts. We exported these items, but what happened? Unfortunately, the company's policy, again which company? East India Company's policy, led to the destruction of Indian crafts, cottage industries and artisanship. To safeguard the British cotton industry, Indian silk and cotton textiles were destroyed with imposition of very heavy duty on Indian goods. Britishers imposed very heavy duty on Indian goods to exploit, to destroy Indian silk and cotton textiles. And in place of that, they promoted British machine-made articles at cheaper rate and decrease in the princely patronage. Means the kings were giving protection, so they decreased it. And then changes in the British trade policy forced the Indian craftsmen and artisans to give up their traditional livelihood, and it was very badly affected on our crafts and industries. I have told you that Industrial Revolution took place in England between 1760 to 1830, and they were in need of raw materials. For that, India, which was a leading exporter, I have written that exported items, cotton. India was the leading exporter of cotton, but what happened? Britishers took all the raw material cotton for their textile industries at Britain, and India, which was the leading exporter of cotton, became the largest importer of cotton textiles. So it ruined our handicraft industries. And in Britain and other European countries, Industrial Revolution was responsible for the deindustrialization of India. They deindustrialized our country and industrialized their own country. All these factors started the process of ruining the traditional handicrafts, and ultimately what happened? National income of India was declined and British industries fulfilled. Now we will see the modern industries in India. The impact of our national movement for freedom and international developments opened the gate of modern industries in India also. Then, for example, which industry? First we will see tea industries. Tea became the biggest plantation industry in which part? In Assam, then in Bengal and in South India. Tea industries became the biggest plantation. So much so that Indian tea topped the world market and England became its biggest buyer. England became biggest buyer of tea. Some Indian industries also flourished, modern industries in India. The other plantation industries were coffee, cinchona and rubber. Along with tea, coffee was also there. Then coffee, cinchona and rubber. These plantation industries also flourished. Then industries like cotton, jute, iron and steel also developed at a fast rate. For example, with the expansion of railways, the demand for coal, iron and steel increased. That time steam engine was there. Coal was used to run the train. Then iron and steel for making the bodies. So which industries also flourished? Coal, iron and steel. Their demand also increased. It was because of farsightedness. Farsightedness means the person who can see the future, and determination of Jamsetji Tata. You must have heard the name of Jamsetji Tata, Tata Nagar, that is known as Jamshedpur in Jharkhand. Jamsetji Tata, that world class famous company like Tisco. Tisco means Tata Iron and Steel Company came up with the passage of time. Then cement, chemical and sugar industries also developed, but we had to import machinery from abroad. Means these industries developed, but ultimately machineries were brought from the abroad. It was only after independence that basic or key industries were given priority by our government, by our new government. About cinchona plants, these are the trees or large shrubs with evergreen foliage which grows to 15 to 20 meter in height, and this plant was introduced in India in 1859. Cinchona plant was introduced. They are found in the Nilgiri and Annamalai hills of Tamil Nadu and Darjeeling in West Bengal. It provides raw material for manufacturing quinine. Quinine is a medicine for malaria. Malaria is a type of disease. So children, this lesson is completed. So far you see we have read what? Colonialism. This lesson 10, we read colonialism, rural and tribal societies, colonial agrarian policy and its impact, different types of land revenue settlement we read, like Jamindari system, Royatwari system, Mahalwari system. Jamindari system, what was there? It was also called permanent revenue system. 89% of revenue was to be given, Jamindars were giving 89% of revenue to the Britishers, and their own share was only 11%. So it was also a exploitation of the farmers. Then next is Royatwari system. It was introduced in 1820 by whom? By Thomas Munro. It was a direct settlement between the government and the Royts. Royts means the cultivators. Next was Mahalwari system. Mahalwari system means group of villages. They were known as Mahal. Whole group of villages were responsible to pay the taxes. Holt Mackenzie introduced it. In which year? In 1822. Various other revolts were also there between 1830 to 1840, and in 1857 in First War of Independence they all helped it. Then the growth of commercial crops we saw, cotton, military administrative profits, expenses, for that they were needed money. Britishers, cash crops, they forced our farmers to grow cash crops. Then conditions of the farmers was deteriorating only, and so they revolted. Then these were the regions of farmers' revolt, and they all helped in First War of Independence of 1857 also. Then today we read about colonialism and tribal society. Khons of Orissa, Van Gujars of Jammu and Kashmir, Gaddis of Kullu, Himachal Pradesh, Mundas of Chota Nagpur, and their impact on the tribal life, because Britishers reserved the forest. Why do they reserve the forest? Because of the timber. Timber is the best quality of wood. And different types of tribal revolt took place. Khasis in 1829, Kukis in 1829, then Khons in 1846, Santhal in 1855 and 1856, Mundas and Kolarian in 1831, and then Birsa Munda started Birsa movement in 1895. And then this effects of colonialism in crafts and industries were also there, but some modern industries also flourished. Tea, coffee, cinchona, rubber plantation, then coal, iron, steel demand was also there, and Jamsetji Tata established Jamshedpur, which is that city. on his name only, and Tisco and Telco were the companies. So this lesson number 10 is completed. Your homework for today is you have to do the map pointing of page number 117. This is your homework. Listen again. Do the map pointing of page number 117 and paste it in your history notebook and submit it on our WhatsApp group. That's all for today. Goodbye.